Tension simmering on the Korean Peninsula. North Korea has said it will pull out all its 51,000 workers out of the Kaesong industrial zone. The two Koreas jointly run the factory where nearly 480 South Koreans also work. Earlier, reports suggested that North Korea was to conduct a fourth nuclear test soon, but South Korean officials said later that there's no sign of an imminent nuclear test. Seoul has, however, warned of a possible missile test by Pyongyang. The tense situation on the Korean Peninsula has forced the U.S. commander in South Korea to cancel his scheduled trip to Washington. Tensions rose after the U.S. flew its B-2 nuclear bombers over the region during its joint military drill with South Korea. Pyongyang, in response, threatened to attack the U.S. with a preemptive nuclear strike and enter a war with its southern neighbor. Meanwhile, Russia says there's a real threat that a nuclear conflict on the Korean Peninsula would be far worse than the Chernobyl nuclear catastrophe in 1986. The explosion and fire at Ukraine's Chernobyl is considered the worst nuclear accident in history. It killed dozens and caused long-term health effects.
The escalation on the Korean Peninsula worries us because we are neighbors. And if, God forbid, something happens, Chernobyl, which we all know a lot about, may seem like a child's fairy tale. Is there such a threat or not? I think there is.
Well, Putin also called for calm in the region and urged a political resolution of the problem during a joint news conference with German Chancellor Angela Merkel. He said Moscow is against the proliferation of weapons of mass destruction and supports denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula. North Korea has threatened to use nuclear weapons against the U.S. mainland and target America's bases in the region. Pyongyang's angry about the ongoing military exercises between the U.S. and South Korea. Joining me now on the line from Washington is Mike Billington with the Asia desk of the Executive Intelligence Review. Thank you very much for being with us, Mr. Billington. Now, a major question, of course, that everyone is asking right now is how serious, basically, that threat of a nuclear war or even of a military attack launched on South Korea has actually become.
I don't think there's any danger of a nuclear war sparked by North Korea's nuclear attack. I think there's a great danger of a nuclear war sparked between the United States and China and the United States and Russia over either the Syrian and Iranian situation in the Middle East or over Korea in Asia. What I would like to point out, actually, is that there's been a concerted effort in the Western press, including the New York Times today, to falsify the warning coming from China about the danger of war in Asia. Xi Jinping, the new head of China at the Boao Forum yesterday, said no country should have the right to create a regional or even global crisis for their own self-interest, their own selfish interest. That was reported in the New York Times this morning, adding falsely the words in front of that speech that no Asian country should have the right to do this. And of course, the Chinese have repeatedly said that while North Korea is, in fact, taking provocative measures that should be stopped, that the U.S. provocations are even more severe in the sense that they're sending nuclear bombers over Korea, nuclear-armed submarine and ABM systems, all of which are seen correctly as a surrounding of China, not just a surrounding of North Korea, who is potentially going to do a provocation, but if it is, it's going to be of the sort they've done in the past. General Dempsey, the head of our Joint Chiefs of Staff here, and who is a sane mind in the U.S., countering the Obama and British buildup for war, was asked if he thought there would be a provocation from North Korea, and he said, I don't believe so, but we would be foolish not to prepare for it. So we are taking certain measures. But he himself is going to China and going to Russia in an effort to counter the buildup coming from the United States, which is indeed bringing the threat of nuclear war worldwide very, very close, and it's extremely dangerous.
Thank you very much, Mike Billington with the Asia desk of the Executive Intelligence Review on the line from Washington with us.